Jamaica, Jamaica. Greetings, my viewers, my people, my brothers, and my sisters all across Jamaica, Africa, America, and every corner of the world turning in today. Welcome back to this amazing YouTube channel that goes by the name Max the Vet. Today I'm diving into one of the hottest and most controversial discussion coming out of the election season. That is Portland. Yes, Portland, Jamaica.
Head to free school. Arriving at free school, a great surprise. The Maroons showed up and we were able to start the proceedings with the blowing of their bang. And shout out to my spiritual guider, I will say, and pastor, who was able to provide the horn and give me the necessary guidance. And thereafter, the drums, the young people of Portland and their marching band was able to provide the live music and instrumentation. I do know that the bikers were present and it was just festive. The place was so crowded I couldn't keep up and things were moving fast. But I tell you, high energy from time come to blood and fire, comrade. I can tell you that I'm going around and the town is just festive for the People's National Party.
Some people actually are saying that Portland is ungrateful. Others are saying that Portland made the right decision. And in the middle of it all, I have some very powerful actually personalities because the likes of Ann-Marie Vaz, then we have Isat Buchanan, and of course the one and only Vybz Kartel. Now I come from Kenya, from a small village where I don't have land, I don't have riches, but what I have is passion, a voice, and desire to connect with you. And when I look at what is happening in Jamaica, I see a story that is bigger than politics. It's a story about loyalty, about actually leadership, about community, about the influence. So today I want us to sit down together and discuss. Let us talk about why people are saying that Portland is ungrateful to Jamaica in this election, and why, what it really means for the future of the country. Because let me start with the name that has dominated this discussion, that is Ann-Marie Vaz.
As the sun sets in the beautiful Rio Grande Valley, we are all up here. And the greatest thing is that what used to take 2.5 hours to reach up here to Millbank, 45 minutes and we're up here. And yeah, you see it? How you feel when you know say?
Now, what is she? What does she stand for? And why is her name connected to strongly with the ideas of Portland being ungrateful? To understand Ann-Marie Vaz, we have to rewind a little bit and look at her journey. So it is just a little bit and look, and actually it's like a politician. She's a woman who has made history in Jamaica. She became the first woman to represent Portland Eastern in Parliament. And that alone is a bigger deal, because when you look at when you look at the Jamaican politics, you get that you see that she has always dominated by men. And so when Ann-Marie Vaz stepped in, she broke barriers. She sent a message to women, to girls, to young people, that it is possible to rise, to lead, and to represent your community. So, and I'm going to talk about her work, her contributions, because let us be honest, whether you like her politics or not, Ann-Marie Vaz has done work in Portland. She has put resource into schools. She has been present in communities. She has helped people in times of crisis, whether it is during actually what we call the natural disaster or during hard economic time. She has carried herself as a politician who is visible, who is approachable and connected to people. So some will say yes, but that it's her job. She was elected to do that, and that is true. But let's not pretend that every politician in Jamaica is doing that job with the same energy, yeah? With the same consistency, with the same heart. Ann-Marie Vaz stood out because she was not only about speeches in parliament, she was about touching people's lives on the ground. Let me give you an example, because I've been following the politics about Jamaica for some time, and there are stories of how she has personally stepped in to support student tuition. There are people who will testify that she has been there when families needed help with healthcare. She has invested in roads, in infrastructures, and in community development. That alone means a lot of things. So, when the election results came out, the Portland did not give her the victory. That's where this conversation about Portland being ungrateful really started. Because let us pause a little and ask ourselves some questions. What does it mean to be ungrateful? If someone has worked for you, helped you, and stood by you, do you owe them royalty forever? Or do you, as a voter, have the right to say thank you for your service? But we want a change. This is not just about Ann Vaz, because this is about the bigger principle of democracy. Democracy means choice. It means people can decide, even after you have done good work, that they want a different leader. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the emotional side of it. Imagine putting in years of your life, investing energy, time, resources, and passion into community. And then when the votes are counted, the people say, no, we are moving on. That is very painful, yeah? In a good example, let's say that I invest on a lady, then we have been dating, then when it is time to do, let's say, wedding, I go back to the lady and tell her that I'm proposing so that we can do a wedding. Then the lady tells me that, no, it can't happen. So that feels like rejection. That is a totally rejection. And that's why some of her supporters are angry, calling Portland ungrateful. Yeah? So, is the truth, because Ann-Marie Vaz represents a story of progress, a story of service, a story of sacrifice. And whether you support her or not, you cannot erase what she has done actually for Portland. And yet, in this election, we can say that Portland made a different choice. Was it because they were blind to her achievement? Was it because they were influenced by other powerful voices? Or was it simple democracy at work? The right of the people to choose a new direction. That is what we are going to unpack in the rest of this video. And to do that, we have looked at the personalities in this story. We have the talks about the Isat Buchanan, the man who came as the challenger, and we have to talk about Vybz Kartel, the cultural giant whose influence can swing public opinion like very few others in Jamaica. So let's take a deep breath, let's clear our minds, and let's move into the next chapter of this discussion, the rise of Isat Buchanan. And what I can just ask, that let us stay tuned, let us be positive, and now families, the way we have spoken about Ann-Marie Vaz, then her journey, her contribution, the pain of her loss, but every election has two sides. If Portland did not re-elect Ann-Marie, then Who did they choose? We captured the hearts of the voters. The man that is Isat Buchanan.
Yeah, we don't need your money because the money that you're using and the money that them thieving is our money, taxpayers' money. We are going to Portland belongs to the people, and I'm just a humble servant. That is where my confidence comes from. The people gave it to me.
And when you mention Isat, name is Jamaica today, emotion rise. Some people cheer, some people question, but everybody is talking on. And that, my viewers, is the mark of powerful, actually what we call political player. So let us take our time here, because understanding Isat is key to understanding where Portland actually shifted the way it did in this election. And first, let me just try to describe who Isat is. He's a traditional politician. He's a lawyer by professionalism, a man who has built his reputation in the courtroom before bringing it to campaign trail. And let me tell you something, that background matters, because being a lawyer means you are trained to argue, to persuade, to present facts, and they influence decision. Politics and law may be different worlds, but the skills of convincing people, of winning cases, is very similar to the skill of winning votes. From early on, Isat Buchanan positioned himself as a defender of rights, a man who is not afraid of speaking truth to power. The reputation gave him a platform, especially among young Jamaicans, yeah, who are hungry for leaders. That sounds bold, sounds fresh, and actually sounds unafraid. Because what is his connection to Vybz Kartel? Now we can talk about Isat without mentioning Vybz Kartel. Why? Because Buchanan was Kartel's lawyer. That connection alone already gave him a massive spotlight. Think about it. Vybz Kartel is not just an artist. He is a movement. He is a cultural force. He is loved, criticized, debated, but he cannot be ignored. So when Isat stood beside Kartel as his attorney, he was not just practicing law. He was aligning himself with cultural icon. He was tapping into a fan base that is loyal, passionate, and deeply invested. When Buchanan stepped in to politics, you get that he did not come as an unknown. He came in as the lawyer who fought for Kartel. And whether you think that's positive or negative, actually it gave him instant recognition. It gave him credibility with actually thousands of Jamaica who see Kartel as the voice of the people. And let us discuss about the Isat campaigning strategy. Now let's just look at the campaign itself. Isat ran with energy. He connected with the youth. He used the social media. He didn't just rely on traditional politics rallies. He tapped into digital spaces where young Jamaicans spend their time. That is what actually did. Actually, he positioned himself as a man of the people. He spoke about issues that matter: poverty, jobs, justice, opportunity for young people. Had he heard the difference? When Ann-Marie spoke, people saw a politician with experience, a leader who was already delivered. When Isat spoke, people saw possibility, freshness, and actually what we call the change. In politics, sometimes it does not matter how much you have done. What matters is how people believe you can do next. But Buchanan sold a vision of future, while Vaz carried the weight of the past. And that's in that battle. Portland made a decision to gamble on the future. We are going to talk about why Portland chose Buchanan. Let's ask a question. Why did Portland vote for Buchanan? Some will say that it was cartel influence, and we'll talk about that soon. Others will say it is simple. Time of new voice, time of change, yeah? But let's not ignore the fact that Buchanan gave Portland something powerful. And when we are talking about something powerful, we are talking about hope. Hope is the most valuable currency in politics. People will give experience if they feel, because the experience give influence and they inspire. People will take risk if they feel a new leader represent them closely. And he spoke in a way that actually felt direct, raw, and real to people. For many voters, he didn't stand like a politician. He sounded like one of them. That is what he did. Okay, when we are talking about reflection on leadership style, is something to think about, my people. Leadership is not only about what you do, but how people feel when you lead. Ann-Marie Vaz had the record, she had the project, she had the receipt, but Buchanan had the vibe, his momentum, the emotional connection that he had to people. It's almost like music. You may have what we call the veteran. You may be a veteran artist with the decades of hits, but when a fresh new voice comes on the scene, young people flock to it. They are not rejecting the old. They are embracing the new. Portland embraced Buchanan. Was it the right choice? Only time will tell, because these elections show us something actually important. Portland election shows us something that we cannot forget. Portland was not voting only with its head, it was voting with its heart. And the heart said Buchanan. Yeah. So now let me see the picture, how the picture is moving more clearly, because Ann-Marie Vaz gave Portland years of service, but Isat gave Portland something else, a new dream. And in this battle between service and dreams, actually what happened is that dream won. That is what really happened. But wait, yeah, there is one of the factor we usually ignore. Just a minute, I'm getting back. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. So ipatie aliseri. Ipe aliseri. Ipatie aliseri. Ipatie aliseri. Ipatie aliseri. Sorry for that. It was just a call from a friend of mine, but I had to pick it. So the way I was saying that that one of the factors we cannot ignore, a factor that so many powerful, that is the change, the way people think, the way people vote, and the way people see themselves. The factor is culture. And in Jamaica, when you talk about culture, you cannot avoid, you can hear the way Yeah, these are birds here in Kenya. You can hear the way they're making noise. You can see them there. They're moving. So I was talking about that we cannot avoid the name Vybz Kartel. So because that is the name that is known, the culture itself. So actually we are going to dive deep into Kartel's influence. We are going to talk about how a man behind bars still shapes the minds of thousands, still actually shapes the mind of the Jamaican, because still it drives conversations and still tips that are the scales of politics. So stay with me, because this is not about to get even more interesting. Yeah, we are going to talk about how things are going to be very interesting, and I'm going to discuss about Vybz Kartel influence.
What? You don't have a say. So enumerate today. Isat Buchanan are the right man for the job. Remember, him now go thief and him now go rob. East Portland, Buchanan is running. I thought I told you that the comet is coming. Don't? Oh.
Because my viewers, we have now reached the part of this discussion where culture meets politics head-on. We have looked at Ann-Marie. We have the servant leader. We have looked at Isat, the fresh challenger. But there is that third force in this story, a man who was not even on the ballot. Yes, his shadow covered the election. That man is none other than we call him Vybz Kartel, because in his name is called, I think he's called Adija Azim Palmer. That is his name. So, and let's be honest, when you bring up Kartel's name in Jamaica, you are only not talking about music. You are talking about influence, about power, about loyalty, and controversy. Because we are going to deep and understand how Kartel became part of this Portland conversation. First, let's set the foundation. Why does Kartel matter so much? Why does his name even relevant in politics? Because Vybz Kartel is not just an entertainer. He's a cultural institution. His lyrics, his music, his image, they resonate very with everyday's life, everyday Jamaican, especially with the youths and the marginalized. Actually, we call them the marginalized. For many, Kartel is more than an artist. He's a voice for the voiceless. Someone who says what others are not afraid to say. Someone who speaks directly to the struggle of people in the ghetto, in the street, in everyday's hustle. You know, I'm trying to repel these. You know, sun is coming from that side, so I'm trying to take shapes so that you see it is hitting my eyes directly, because the camera, I'm not using a GoPro. The camera, I'm using a phone, yeah. So I don't want to, you know, when I'm standing this side away from the sun, you get that I think I should go to a shadow. So the way I was saying that even behind bars, yeah, Kartel continue to release music, continues to inspire debates, to dominate conversation. Yeah, at least here I can stand here. Yeah, think about that. A man locked away still commands more influence than many politicians walking free. That tells you that the level of loyalty and power in his name carries. That is it. And when we are talking about Vybz Kartel in connection to Isat, we get that actually we remember what we said early, that Isat was Kartel's lawyer. That relationship created, yeah, a bridge between Isat and Kartel's massive fan base. Suddenly, this election was not just about PNP versus JLP. It became part about cartel voice being represented. That is very evident because for many voters who went actually to vote, supporting Isat felt like supporting cartel. It felt like sending a message that cartel's people are still powerful, they are still relevant, and still able to actually to shape Jamaica's future. And in politics, symbolism matter just as much as policies, because Batman became a symbol of cartel's continued presence in the system. So when Portland voted Buchanan, in their mind, in the mind of some, they were just voting for lawyer-tuned politician. They were voting also for a man who once stood beside cartel, the man who defended cartel, the man who carried cartel banner into parliament. So when we are talking about cartel's power over the youth votes, let us talk about that, because this is where cartel influence really shines. Young people are the heartbeat of culture. They are actually the ones who dance to the music, share it online, make it trend, and live it as a message. Because cartel music speaks their language. It reflects their struggles. That is what I can really say. It doesn't come from an office or a podium. Excuse me. When you sneeze this way, Jamaicans will be telling you that you are supposed to go check. You are supposed to take a break from the office and go check your wife what she's doing. Somebody is calling me here, but I'm not going to pick it until I've ended this conversation. So I was talking that So I was talking that cartel music, yeah, cartel music speaks the language of the youths. It reflects their struggles. It doesn't come from an office or a podium. It comes from the street. So when young people hear cartel, they feel actually represented. Now imagine this energy flowing into politics. Imagine thousands of young people actually saying that if Bachaman was cartel's lawyer, then maybe he is one of us. Maybe he understands. Maybe he will fight for us. That is how cartel influence tipped the scale. And it wasn't just about votes. It was about the identity. And in 2025, identity politics is stronger than ever. Because when it comes to the controversy, of course, my viewers, not everyone sees cartel influence as positive. There are critics who say its impact on politics is dangerous. They argue that music and culture should not dominate leadership. They say a convicted man should not hold so much sway over the political destiny of a nation. And that's the tension here. One side, you have those who see cartel as a hero, a freedom fighter of culture. On the other side, you have those who see him as a negative influence, someone who represents the darker side of Jamaica challenged. But here's the reality: whether you love him or hate him, you cannot ignore him. Cartel is like gravity. You may not like it, but you cannot escape it. That's why his influence in Portland election is not a surprise, because to many people they knew very well that Kartel will be bringing a lot of impact. Yeah, it is natural results of years of loyalty, music, cultural dominancy, and that's the reality. Even me, when I was growing up in Kenya, I used to know Vybz Kartel. We used to dance his music up to date. Yeah, even when Vybz Kartel was released, there were a lot of concerts in Kenya where they were saying like, bring Vybz Kartel in Kenya. Even today, when Vybz Kartel will be coming to Kenya, every Kenyan will be flock where he'll be. Let's say if it is in Nairobi, any place in Kenya, we really like the motive about Vybz Kartel. So I'm going to talk about Vybz Kartel versus the traditional politics, and I'm going to break down Ann-Marie Vaz. Ann-Marie Vaz came to Portland with a record of service. She represents traditional politics. She brought projects, she brought developments, and leadership is the classical sense. Isat came with freshness, energy, youth, and actually what we call the youth appeal. But Kartel came with culture. Kartel came with vibes. Kartel came with force of the entire movement. So this election was not just about politicians versus politicians. It was politicians versus culture. And when culture and politics collide, culture often wins, because culture is the music in the dance in the streets. It is the heartbeat of the people. You can vote against a politician, but you cannot vote against culture. Now, let us just reflect. What does Kartel influence really say about Jamaica today? It says that the youth want leaders who understand their struggles. It says that music still drives politics in a way that we sometimes underestimate. It says that even behind bars, if you have the people, you have the power. So if Portland ungrateful, or is Poland simply being true to itself, a parish that listens not only to speeches and projects, but also to rhythm and culture? That's the question we must keep asking. So let me just close something about Vybz Kartel. So we have looked at Ann-Marie, the woman of the service. We have looked at Isat, the lawyer of hope, and now we have looked at Vybz Kartel, the cultural giant whose shadow covered the entire election. But there is one more perspective left actually to explore, and that is my own perspective. Me, a man from Kenya, from a small village, looking into Jamaica and asking, what does all this mean for democracy, for loyalty, for gratitude, and for the future of Jamaica? So I'm going to talk about me, because this will be like an outsider perspective, social media, and I'm going to talk about the national mood, because I have to put myself into that shoes. Because my people, we have now walked, we have talked about these three powerful people: Vybz Kartel, Ann-Marie Vaz, Isat Buchanan. We have talked about them. We have seen service, we have seen hope, we have seen culture. But now, allow me to shift the camera for a moment. Allow me to step out of Jamaica and look in from the outside. Because from my little corner in Kenya, Because sometimes when you stand outside the house, you can see the roof more clearly than the people sitting inside. So I'm going to talk from my as a outsider perspective. I come from Kenya, a small village where politics is also emotional, tribal, cultural, and personal. When I watch what happened in Portland, I see the same story we live in Africa. Politicians build roads, they pay school fees, they fix water projects, but when election day comes, the people still sometimes turn their back onto them. Why? Because people vote with feelings, not just with facts.
I am 75 years old. Because I am poor and don't have no money, and the people them with their money, they want to give to them.
Some rich guys that give them some money, and really government want to develop one.
Like them getting bribery from other big guy to come and take it and build what they want to build on it.
Them a try split up Navy Island and sell it to them friends before the election. You say steal not, you thief me land.
When me see another system, them a try fight poor people. If you take over a place, where fishermen a go?
53 years now, I'm on the land. From this a source of water, swamp, you see me?
We're upon this premises at 20 years. When we come and see a swamp and susumba, gully bean, and we dump it and build it and bring it to us like how you see.
Enough truckload of stuff me dump on this land. Yeah.
So when Jamaica call Portland ungrateful, I smile. Because in Kenya, we have heard that word so many times. In Africa, gratitude and politics do not always work hand in hand. The voters is like the wind. Today they blow this way, tomorrow they blow on the other side. From my perspective, what I can say, this is not about ingratitude. This is about democracy doing what democracy does. Giving people the power to change the leaders at will, whether it makes sense logically or not. Jamaica is not unique in this. It is part of glory and the global story of how politics work. So when I'm linking between, let's say, my country, Kenya, and Jamaica, when I see Jamaica debating about Ann-Marie Vaz and Isat Buchanan, I see the same debate we see in Nairobi, in Kisumu, in Eldoret. We ask, why did these community abandon that leader after all they have done? Why also cry out, these people are ungrateful? But at the end of the day, it is not ingratitude. It is actually what we call, it is simply the nature of democracy. And here's the thing, my viewers, Jamaica and Kenyans are convinced in spirit we are two nations that love music, that love culture, that love freedom. We may be separated by the ocean, but we face the same struggle. Of the struggle that we all face is the likes of the poverty. We face poverty in Kenya the way Jamaicans face. We face the rise of unemployment the same Jamaica face, inequality, and constant search for leaders who will make our life better. So when I speak about Poland, I am also speaking about my own people. I am also speaking about the pain of politicians who feel betrayed and excited of new leaders who feel chosen. That is what we feel. So when I'm talking about, let's say, about social media reaction on this, because in 2025, politics is not, it is no longer in the streets of the polling stations. It is on Twitter, it is on Instagram, it is on YouTube, it is on TikTok. And let me tell you, when Portland results came in, the internet exploded. Some people were celebrating Buchanan like he was the superstar. Memes were flying, hashtag were trending, and his name was on every timeline. And others were angry, cursing Portland, saying that the parish has no loyalty, saying that Jamaica has lost its way. People are saying that Jamaica has lost its way. And of course, Kartel name was all over the place. His fans claimed victory. They said the system can look up the man, but the system cannot look up the movement. They saw Buchanan win as Kartel's win, as a proof that Gaza still runs the street, still runs the hearts of the youths. Meanwhile, Ann-Marie Vaz supporters were heartbroken online. They shared videos of her past working, reminding people of what she had done, and they cried out, "How can you forget her so quickly? How can you turn your back after all she gave?" The internet was a battlefield, my friends, and the war was not just politics. It was not all about policies. It was about loyalty, it was about emotions, it was about identity. And I know when you look at about the national mood, because we can widen that with a lens. What was the let's say in the national mood after this election? Jamaica was divided. Some saw this as the rise of a new generation. Others saw that it is betrayal of hard work and sacrifice. But more than anything, this election showed the power of the youth. It shows the power of the culture. It actually shows that Jamaica is ready to experiment, ready to take risks, ready to trust new voices. In my view, this is not just simple. Portland's story, this was Jamaica sending signal to the whole world that we are not afraid of change. We are not afraid to follow the vibes. We are not afraid to choose actually differently. Whether that choice will bring progress or regret, only the future will tell. But the message was very clear. Jamaica is actually moving. And what I can call for, or my reflection, what I can just call for is when an outsider looking in, I want to say this: Jamaica must not allow this election to tear it apart, because after all the celebrations and after all the disappointments, the truth is this: Jamaica is one nation. Portland may have chosen differently, but Portland is still part of Jamaica. Ann-Marie Vaz is still a daughter of Jamaica. Isat Buchanan is still a son of Jamaica. Vybz Kartel, whether you see him as a hero or a villain, is still the voice of Jamaica. And at the end of the day, the success of the country does not depend on the election or the leader. It depends on people's unity, one love, one hard work, and on the people's continuing to demand better.
What would happen to you if you should lose?
I would be a madman. This is my work when I was #1 till I am 58 now.
To Africa, big time. Big time, big time, big time to Africa life.
Them a rob you of the right to have a part of Jamaica as a Jamaican. They must treat you like you are somebody.
But then can just look on it and say, all right, a poor people live here, so help we. Because you say you can't want to destroy we.
Isat Buchanan and the only somebody know right now. We are trying to help you and Larry, one next guy named Larry.
So that is my perspective as an outsider, my people. That is what I see when I look at Portland from Kenya. I see democracy. I see emotion. I see culture. I see a country wrestling with its future. But before we close, we need to bring this home. We need to talk about the final question. What lesson can Jamaica and even the wider world actually learn from Portland's story? Tell me. That will be our final section, and as we wrap about this conversation for today, just engage there in the comment section so that we'll be learning a lot of things about hope, culture, emotions, all those things. So stay tuned. I'll be bringing more and more things, real vibes about what I'm thinking about. Stay tuned. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share to other people so that we can really learn a lot of things. Goodbye.